Now, Iran has laid out its conditions for ending the war, rejecting what it describes as a U.S. list of 15 demands. Officials in Tehran say those proposals don't reflect the reality on the ground, while President Donald Trump has warned of severe consequences if Iran refuses to comply. So, where do both sides draw the line? Welcome to the program. Iran remains locked in conflict with the United States and Israel. While there are no direct negotiations, both sides have recently outlined their positions. Tehran insists Washington's stance is disconnected from current conditions, even as military activity continues across the region. President Trump, meanwhile, has escalated his rhetoric, warning of major retaliation if Iran does not meet U.S. expectations. At its core, Iran reviews this war as an existential struggle against its primary adversaries, the U.S. and Israel. For Washington, the conflict is about weakening one of the most powerful actors in the Middle East. With so much at stake, the question becomes, what are the non-negotiable demands on each side? According to reports, the U.S. recently sent a military multi-point proposal to Iran through intermediaries, even as public messaging has grown more aggressive. Tehran, however, denies that any formal negotiations are taking place, suggesting instead that increased diplomatic outreach from Washington signals weakness. Iranian state media has outlined several key demands. These include a complete halt to military attacks and targeted killings, guarantees against future aggression, compensation for damages, and recognition of Iran's authority over the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran also calls for an end to all hostilities across multiple fronts, including those involving allied groups in the region. Iran has framed these conditions as essential to its long-term security, not as bargaining tools. But control over the Strait of Hormuz remains a central issue, given that a significant portion of the world's energy supply passes through that corridor. On the U.S. side, while the full proposal has not been fully released, reports indicate that Washington is demanding the dismantling of Iran's nuclear infrastructure, a commitment to never develop nuclear weapons, and strict limits on its ballistic missile capabilities. The U.S. is also pushing the Strait of Hormuz to remain open and for Iran to end its support for regional proxy groups. At the same time, the U.S. has deployed additional forces to the region, signaling that military pressure remains a key part of its strategy. Meanwhile, fighting continues. Airstrikes have hit multiple locations inside Iran, including major cities with civilian casualties reported. Iran has responded by launching missiles toward Israel, with impacts and debris causing injuries in several areas. Despite ongoing discussions through intermediaries, the conflict shows no immediate signs of slowing. Iran has indicated it is prepared for further escalation, including the possibility of a broader confrontation. Analysts say both sides are currently taking hardline positions in public, while leaving some room for flexibility behind closed doors. However, the gap between their demands remains wide. One major sticking point is Iran's nuclear program. While Iranian officials maintain that their activities are for peaceful purposes, U.S. officials argue that uranium enrichment levels have gone far beyond what is necessary for civilian use. This distrust continues to complicate any potential agreement. Another critical issue is missile capability. Iran considers its missile program a key element of national defense, especially after years of sanctions and military pressure. The U.S. and its allies, however, view those same capabilities as a regional threat. Experts suggest that meaningful negotiations are unlikely to begin until there is at least a temporary halt in fighting. Without that pause, neither side appears willing to make concessions. There are also growing concerns about the risk of prolonged conflict. Some analysts warn that if ground forces are introduced, the situation could escalate significantly, drawing in additional countries and expanding the war. For now, both Washington and Tehran appear unwilling to back down. Any shift in their positions may depend less on diplomacy and more on changes in military conditions on the ground. Until then, the conflict continues, with global energy markets, regional stability, and international diplomacy all hanging in the balance.